So what kind of reading materials were present in your home?
Lots of novels. There were some magazines, but it was mostly novels that we got from Salvation Army and from Value Village.
Were they present in your room, or were they just like...
See, around the time I was 6 or 7 years old, we moved into a new place.
Mm.
Before that, we had a small library, and then my parents had finally gotten some money from my dad being beaten up, and we had a big, almost floor-to-ceiling library, and that stood one wall of the living room. So we had lots of books there.
A lot of books.
Most of it was stuff for business, like for my parents' work, like art stuff for my mom, and my dad's medical textbooks because he was still in school.
Right. Now, when you were, as a young child, did you do any writing?
I did. It was, at first it was very imitative of the stories that my parents read or that I would read. Prior to moving to that house, we did a lot of stuff at the library, and occasionally they had workshops at the local public library.
So you would say like you did your writing at the public library?
There were some workshops that did that, but most of it was just me, like around the time 5 or 6, trying to imitate the novels that I was reading, and I, again, pretty much plagiarizing the plot, but being a little kid trying to write a story.
Do you think that factored into like how your literacy is right now?
Maybe. The main thing that factored into my current love of reading is my parents taking me to the library to get books and reading to me at night as a kid. My problems that I have with reading and writing are irrelevant to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. So what were your hobbies, growing up as a teenager? And can you tell us can you tell me one story?
As a young teen, I kind of tried to avoid people, and I'd take a book and go. There used to be 40 acres of wetlands upstream from my parents' house, and I would take a book and go walk up the creek and go to the wetlands.
And just read up there?
Yeah.
Bet that was pretty, soothing, or just getting away from everything.
Away from everything. Sometimes things weren't as soothing doing that because there was a patch of quicksand that I discovered.
Quicksand?
Okay, this is 12-year-old me, and I saw this alligator snapper walking across.
Did you live in Louisiana or?
No, Houston.
Really? Oh, wow.
Alligator snapping turtle, but it was she was walking across the area, so I thought it would be fine for apparently putting your weight on 4 different legs and only being 30, 40 pounds is different from being 100 pounds and 2 legs.
So what happened when you found that?
I lost the library book, and it was easy to get out, but it's just, it was scary.
So did technology have, any form of technology have any, any purpose in you developing your skills?
Spell checker helped me a lot.
Why is that?
Well, because otherwise I would be failing all my. I mean, I'd still get counted off for spelling, but at least my misspellings ended up being that of another word, as opposed to before when about every third, fourth word would have a little red mark behind it or by it.
So, explain like the first time that you got onto a computer, or that you used a computer.
In elementary school, there were some typing programs, which I did poorly at, partly because I had trouble reading what I was supposed to do. I would type what I saw, or how I read it, but it was not always what was actually there. This was in MS-DOS, we got a actual home computer that I could get on around 95, and that was also when I first got exposed to email and the internet, and didn't really take off towards it till around high school.
Okay. So, do you think that helped you, get it on the computer? Well, of course it kind of helped you because of the spell check. So, this next question, can you tell us a story about the time you felt illiterate?
Regular basis before I got diagnosed with dyslexia. The fact that I could, on my reading comprehension tests, I would score the highest in the class, and then you go to the spelling tests, and I would be maybe getting in the 40s on the test if I did well. And I even tried cheating, and I failed. Another time after I got diagnosed with dyslexia, but with a professor or teacher that refused to give me my accommodations. He marked me off for, it was a history class, and he marked me off for each misspelled answer. I mean, you only got half credit if you misspelled the answer. I got every single question right, and I got a 60 on the exam.
So, why was spelling a factor? What grade was it?
This was 11th grade.
And spelling was a factor?
Yeah, because he was, I don't know.
That's weird.
And, I mean, it's not like he couldn't understand what I was. I misspelled false, and he marked me off.
For misspelling false?
For misspelling false.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's nitpicky. You're just being real nitpicky.
And he said we can't just write T or F for the true or false questions. We have to write out the words and.
Yeah, he was just being.
Yes.
That's not cool. That is not cool. So, do you have any secret or private literacy practices?
I write poems and short stories, and I don't like sharing them with other people.
So that's definitely a secret.
I will admit that I'm writing it, and there will be maybe 1 out of every 10 that I will share with other people, but I'm writing for myself, not for. I used to have back in high school, got in trouble with my parents for staying up till around 3 a.m. reading when I have to catch the bus at 5:30.
So you were deeply invested into reading books, right? So did you watch any TV or?
I did watch some TV. I stopped watching TV when the show I liked was canceled.
What show?
Farscape. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel. It was a space opera.
I think I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
It was basically a space opera.
Okay. So, would you prefer a computer over your natural writing to I guess you write your stories.
I tend to do it in pencil and paper, and then I will transfer it because I can't go back and check what I've said as easily on the computer because the screens tend to be harder for me to read.
Mm-hmm.
The spell check is great, but the ability to insert is great, but oftentimes it's easier for me to do the rough draft based in pencil and paper before transferring it over into a digital format.
Forgot the question. So just for like to explain like the dyslexia and how that like affects your writing or reading, I guess.
For reading, it can make things more interesting. Sometimes the misreadings that I get are more amusing than what's actually there. It slows me down quite a bit. I do get some more eye strain from reading, especially if I'm using a screen compared to. And different types of fonts and formatting of things will make it so that it can make it easier for me to read or can make it a lot harder for me to read.
Mm-hmm.
When you have justified text, it creates these, like, I can see the blank spaces I keep registering as objects, and it creates a hard for that. If there's a high contrast between the letters and the background, like if it's a backlit computer screen and black text, it makes it so then letters move a lot more. If you have serifs and things, I have trouble telling what the letters are. If they have any sort of like Times New Roman is a lot harder for me to read than say Arial. Comic Sans is a really easy font for me to read, but nobody likes Comic Sans.
Yeah. So when typing your papers, like, is it hard to type your papers? Like, let's just say for like our class right now.
For this, I sketched out the rough points of what I want to do, get an idea, and sort of stream of conscious the important sections. And then I'll take a speech text program, which will misspell half the things I say, but will give not misspell half. It'll get a few words, or half the sentences I have will have some sort of mistake, so I will have to review it. But I won't have to be looking at the screen while doing it, so I can just go back and edit it easier.
So it's like you have to take like 4 or 5 steps just to type a paper, right?
Yeah.
For school.
I can do it. Normally what happens is I'm allowed to do it in pencil and paper and have spelling forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way it's just, I can just do one step and write it out.
Okay, cool. I think we just stop it right there. 15 minutes. Or 14.
Okay.